Her birthday dinner. A night I planned for weeks, paid for down to the last overpriced cocktail, and reserved at the fanciest rooftop in Manhattan. I even had the staff bring out her favorite champagne, the one she posted about last year after a girl's trip to Miami. I sat there like an idiot in a tailored suit, thinking I was doing something special for my wife. Her name's Ashley, by the way. And me? I'm Tyler, 36, own a small but successful construction firm. I've never been the flashy type, just reliable. Maybe that was my crime. Reliability. That night, Ashley looked stunning, sure. Gold dress hugging her curves, fake laugh echoing around the table as she soaked up every compliment. But what hit me wasn't her looks. It was the way she ignored me, like I was just part of the restaurant decor. Her hand stayed on her wine, never touched mine. She didn't introduce me to her new colleagues. She didn't even make eye contact. Then came the toast. God, that ****ing toast. She stood up, glass raised high, smiling that Instagram perfect smile. I'm proud of all my friends and family tonight. Pause. Grin. Except the loser sitting at the table, my husband. Her voice cracked from the wine, but not from guilt. Laughter. Real, loud, unfiltered laughter. From everyone. Even her best friend Claire choked on a shrimp cocktail. I sat frozen, like I'd been slapped by silence. I looked at Ashley. No remorse. No joke follow-up. She meant every word. Her eyes flicked to mine like I was a stray dog that wandered into her photo shoot. I remember the weight in my chest, like a damn anchor dropped inside me. My palms were sweating, but I wasn't shaking. I was numb. Completely ******ing numb. But I didn't break. I didn't yell. Instead, I stood up slowly and reached into my jacket. I pulled out a folded white envelope. No words on it. Just taped shut with precision. I laid it on the table gently, like a final nail in the coffin. For you, wife, I said calmly, happy birthday. And then I turned and walked out. No one moved. No one stopped me. They just stared like I dropped a grenade on the linen. 10 seconds later, behind me, a scream. Not dramatic. Real. Panicked. Gut-level horror. That's when I knew she opened it. Inside that envelope, a small stack of glossy printed photos. Clear. High resolution. Time-stamped. Ashley and her trainer, Blake. Naked in the sauna at his private gym. Her legs wrapped around him like it was a honeymoon. You think I'm exaggerating? I wish I was. But I hired someone. Not because I was paranoid. Because I was right. The signs had been there. She started coming home tired from work, even though she works remote. Started taking showers right after arriving home, even when she barely left the house. Her phone, once shared on the charger, was suddenly always face down, password updated, notifications off. A few times, she even said I should give her space because she felt smothered. Smothered. By me making her coffee in the morning. But I never confronted her. Not then. I waited. Planned. Gathered. And delivered it. In front of everyone she tried to impress. Let them laugh now. Let them choke on the truth. As I stepped outside, the New York air hit my face like cold justice. I lit a cigarette I hadn't touched in 6 years. My hands were still steady. My jaw was tight, but my mind, clearer than ever. I didn't drive home. I didn't even look back. I just walked, slow, steady, past couples holding hands, past cab horns, past the noise of a city that never cared whether your heart was intact. Behind me, Ashley's perfect little world was shattering. And for the first time in months, maybe years, I felt alive. The cab dropped me off near Madison Square Park. I didn't want to go home. Not yet. That house didn't feel like mine anymore. It hadn't in months. Hell, maybe years. I just didn't see it. I sat on a bench and pulled out my phone. 5 missed calls from Ashley. 1 from her mom. A couple texts from her friends, ranging from, "What the hell was that?" to, "Is this real?" No one said sorry. No one asked if I was okay. They were more shocked about the envelope than the affair. That's when I realized the truth. They all knew. Or suspected. Claire definitely did. She once joked about Blake's killer body right in front of me. Ashley laughed. Said he was just a friend. Yeah, a friend who clearly knew what her moans sounded like. I opened my email, pulled up the file I'd saved. A digital backup of the photos, along with a couple of audio files. One of them? Her talking to Blake on speaker while I was out buying groceries. She said, and I quote, "If Tyler finds out, I'll just cry and say he was never there for me emotionally. That always works." That's who she is. That's the woman I married. Back when we were dating, she was different. Or maybe I was just blind. She was spontaneous, wild, and said things like, "You're the only man who makes me feel safe." Looking back, she probably just meant stable. I gave her stability. A nice apartment, a paid-off car, vacations every 6 months, and the kind of love that wasn't Instagram flashy but was loyal to the core. And she traded that for gym muscles and sauna hookups. I finally went home around midnight. The lights were off. I walked into the living room and saw the wine glass still on the counter, lipstick smudged on the rim. The silence in the house was thick. A different kind of silence. One that knew everything had changed. As I was locking the door, I heard it. Keys. Then the door creaked open. Ashley. She stepped in slowly, wearing the same gold dress. But her makeup was smudged and her eyes were bloodshot. Still smelled like perfume and entitlement. "Tyler," she started. I didn't respond. I walked past her and sat on the couch. "You embarrassed me," she said next, like that was the biggest crime of the night. "You humiliated me in front of my friends." My laugh was cold, quiet. I turned to her and said, "No, Ashley. You humiliated me the moment you called me a loser in front of people I paid to feed." She flinched but recovered fast. Always quick with a comeback. "You were distant. You've changed. You barely touch me anymore." I felt unwanted. Unwanted or unchallenged. I shot back. "There's a difference." Silence. Then the tears. The fake ones. She wiped at her face like she was in a soap opera. "I made a mistake. It didn't mean anything. It happened 5 times, Ash," I said, standing. 5. And that's just what I know about. She opened her mouth, probably to lie again, but I raised my hand. "No more," I said. "Save your breath. I already called my lawyer." That's when her mask cracked. "What the hell, Tyler? You're really gonna throw everything away because of this? After all we've built?" "You didn't build anything," I snapped. "You just moved in and started decorating. I built it. You enjoyed it." She stared at me, stunned. And then she said something I'll never forget. "Well, maybe if you were more of a man, I wouldn't need someone like Blake." It hit me like a brick. Not because I believed it, but because she meant it. I didn't yell, didn't throw anything. I just walked to the bedroom, opened the closet, and pulled out the suitcase I'd packed 2 days ago, just in case. As I walked past her, she muttered, "You'll be back. You always come crawling back." I turned to her. "Not this time." And I meant it. Because when trust dies, love doesn't stand a chance. I booked a room at a hotel in Brooklyn that night. Not because I didn't have friends I could stay with, but because I needed silence. Clean sheets. A door that locked behind me without the sound of her voice echoing down the hallway. I turned my phone off, dropped the suitcase by the chair, and sat at the edge of the bed staring at the wall. You think when you catch your wife cheating, you'll scream, cry, rage, throw things. But I didn't. I just sat there, crushed beneath the weight of something I never wanted to believe was real. I thought I'd feel free. Instead, I felt hollow. The kind of hollow that creeps in slowly, like fog under a door. Sometime around 3 a.m., I turned my phone back on. 46 texts, 17 missed calls, 5 voicemails, all from her. Except one, from Blake. "Look, man, I didn't know you were still together. She said you were separated. Don't come at me like I'm the enemy." I stared at his message for a while. Then I laughed. A dry, bitter laugh. Like that coward didn't know exactly what he was doing. Like he wasn't sending shirtless gym selfies while I was out buying dog food and tampons. I didn't respond. The next morning, I went to the lawyer's office. A friend of mine from college recommended him. Divorce attorney, sharp as hell. He read through everything I handed him. Screenshots, the photos, a few financial docs I'd quietly copied from Ashley's files weeks ago. "Looks like she's been moving money," he said, eyes narrowing. "What?" I leaned forward. "Little transfers here and there. From your joint account to a private one under her maiden name. Smart, but not smart enough." That's when the puzzle started coming together. Not just the affair. The whole game. The new work laptop she said was from her company? She bought it herself. The marketing business she claimed she was launching with Claire? Nothing filed. No tax forms. Just a new account, draining our money like a slow leak. My stomach tightened. She wasn't just screwing around. She was planning an exit. But I beat her to it. "I want the house," I told the lawyer. "And I want to make damn sure she doesn't get another dollar from me." "You've got a solid case," he replied. "Especially with that public humiliation stunt she pulled. Judges eat that up." Public image. That's all Ashley ever cared about. If you'd seen her Instagram before that night, you'd think we were the next Jay and Bay. Love quotes. Sunset photos. Holding hands on yachts that weren't even ours. Meanwhile, she was grinding on Blake behind sauna doors. I walked out of that office with a plan and a little bit of peace. But peace didn't last long. That night, as I was packing some of my things from the house, while she was staying at Claire's, I found something. A small velvet box in her underwear drawer. I almost didn't open it. But curiosity is cruel. Inside was a pair of engraved cufflinks. To Blake. From Ashley. They read, "To the real man in my life. Always yours." Hey, I sat on the floor for maybe 10 minutes, holding that box like it was radioactive. So that's what I was to her. A placeholder? A walking wallet with a ring? And then something snapped. I stood up, took a deep breath, and picked up the box. I carried it into the kitchen, opened the trash can, and dropped it inside. No drama. No fire. Just gone. That's when the front door opened. Ashley. She walked in, carrying a coffee, acting like this was just another Thursday. She didn't see me at first. When she finally did, her face froze. "You're not supposed to be here," she said coldly. "I could say the same about Blake," I replied. She rolled her eyes. "Still obsessing over that? Jesus, Tyler. Grow up. Did you buy him cufflinks before or after I paid for your birthday party?" That shut her up. For a moment. "I was going to leave you anyway," she said. "You just sped it up. So congratulations." "I know about the accounts," I added calmly. "The transfers. The fake business. You weren't just cheating on me. You were stealing from me." She blinked. For once, her mouth didn't move. "I'm done playing the fool, Ashley." And for the first time, she looked afraid. Not panicked. Just exposed. Good. Because the game was over. She didn't try to deny it. Didn't scream. Didn't cry. Just stood there with that iced coffee in her hand, like we were talking about the weather. That's how far gone she was. How deep into her own fantasy of control she had sunk. And I think in that moment, she realized I wasn't the fool anymore. "What do you want from me, Tyler?" she finally asked, voice flat. "Nothing," I said, walking past her. "That's the difference between us. You take until there's nothing left. I'm just leaving." She followed me down the hallway. "You think you're some martyr now? Some wounded hero?" I laughed under my breath. "No, just a man who's finally awake." Then she said it. "You'll regret this." I turned around slowly. "I regret marrying a snake in heels who used my loyalty like a doormat. So no, I won't." She stepped forward, lowering her voice like she was trying to seduce me back into submission. "Tyler, we were good once. Remember? I remember paying for your apartment while you found yourself. I remember being told I was too boring because I didn't want to party with your fake influencer friends. I remember catching you in the act, Ashley." Her jaw clenched. "I didn't sleep with him, not at first." I cut her off. "Save it. I have audio of you talking about it. You said it was your best workout of the month." She froze. The color drained from her face. I stepped closer and whispered, "You think I didn't cover my bases?" She looked like she wanted to slap me, scream, maybe throw something. But instead, she just stared at me with this strange mix of hatred and fear. Like I was no longer predictable. Good. I grabbed my duffel bag and walked out. As I closed the door behind me, I heard her voice, not angry, not sad. Just venom. "You'll die alone." That stuck with me for a second. Until I remembered, I was alone all this time. She just made me believe otherwise. A week passed. I didn't hear from her directly, though I heard she tried to spin the story to her circle. Said I had rage issues, that I hacked her phone, that I overreacted to a meaningless flirtation. Classic Ashley, always the victim. She even posted a black and white selfie with a caption about healing from betrayal. Betrayal. From me. You can't make this up. But then the fallout started. One of her coworkers, a guy named Grant, messaged me on Facebook. Said he saw everything. Knew everything. Confirmed that Ashley and Blake had been messing around for months. Even showed up together at a business retreat in Denver that she told me was canceled. Claire? She blocked me. Probably knew she'd be next in line when Ashley needed someone to blame. Half of her friends stopped liking her posts. Guess betrayal doesn't photograph well. And then came the email. From Blake. Short and to the point. She said she was done with you. Didn't mention she was still cashing your checks. My bad, man. I didn't reply. I didn't need to. Instead, I took all of it. Every screenshot, every file, every transfer record. and gave it to my lawyer. With all the documentation, Ashley didn't stand a chance. The court granted me exclusive rights to the house, froze the joint assets, and gave her a 30-day notice to vacate. When she got the news, she went radio silent. Until one night, 2 weeks later, when I pulled into the driveway and saw her sitting on the porch. No makeup, hoodie, knees tucked up like a child, trying to pretend nothing was burning around her. "Tyler," she said when I stepped out of the car. I didn't answer. She stood slowly. "I don't have anywhere to go. You should have thought of that before screwing the trainer and siphoning our bank account." She stepped toward me. "Please, can we talk inside? Just 5 minutes." I shook my head. "The door's been changed." Her eyes went wide. "You changed the locks?" "Damn right I did." She looked like she was about to beg, but instead, she scoffed. "You really think this is over? You don't get to erase me, Tyler." I looked her dead in the eyes. "You erased yourself the moment you stood up at that dinner and called me a loser." And then I walked past her. She screamed something behind me. I don't even remember what. Maybe it was my name. Maybe it was, "You'll regret this again." But I didn't look back, because I wasn't her husband anymore. And for the first time in years, that felt like freedom. The next morning was quiet. No messages. No calls. No shouting from the porch. Nothing. She was gone. I made myself a coffee in that kitchen, the same kitchen where we used to cook together on Sundays, laughing over spilled flour and arguing about garlic. Now it felt bigger, lighter, like the walls had finally exhaled after holding their breath for years. I didn't cry. I didn't feel triumphant either. I just sat there, fingers around the mug, realizing how long I had been living inside someone else's story. Her story, her rules, her image of what a husband should be: obedient, silent, useful, but never equal. I wasn't grieving a wife. I was grieving the lie. Later that afternoon, I went to the garage, the space I'd built into a small workshop. I hadn't touched it in months. She always said it was a waste of time, that I should convert it into a yoga space or a photo studio. But I kept it. Maybe out of stubbornness. Maybe because somewhere deep down, I needed something in that house that was still mine. There was dust on everything. Tools half put away. A project I started last year. A hand-carved oak coffee table sat unfinished under a tarp. I pulled it off, ran my hand across the grain, and felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Purpose. Around 6, my lawyer called. "We're moving fast," he said. "She's trying to delay the asset freeze, but we have her cornered." "Let her try," I said. "She won't win, Tyler. Judges don't like women who spit on their husband in public and then cry financial abuse." I almost smiled. "Thanks." Then came a surprise. "By the way," he added, "your wife's little marketing startup? It's under investigation. Fake invoices. Ghost clients. Could be fraud." Of course it was. Of course. Ashley never built anything. She just posed next to things and called it hustle. While I worked 12-hour days, she posted filtered selfies about manifesting abundance. Turns out she was just manifesting the downfall of her own damn marriage. That night, I slept better than I had in months. But peace never stays too long. The next day, I came home from work and found an envelope taped to the front door. No return address. No handwriting. Just my name in all caps. Inside, a flash drive. I hesitated for a second, then plugged it into my laptop. A single video file. Ashley. Crying. Not the fake Instagram kind. This was raw. Smudged makeup, red nose, shaky hands. "I didn't know where else to go," she said in the video. "You won't answer my calls. Everyone's turning on me. I need to explain." I leaned back in my chair. Watched her wipe tears from her cheeks. "I was scared," she said. "You were always so solid. So good. And I hated that. Because I felt small next to it. Like I didn't deserve it. So I tried to destroy it. I thought if I could bring you down, I wouldn't feel like such a disappointment." She paused. "I didn't love Blake. I just loved the way he made me forget what I was losing." She stared into the camera. "I know you'll never forgive me. But I wanted you to know, it wasn't because you weren't enough. It was because I never was." I sat there, watching the screen go black. No music. No signature. Just silence. For a moment, I felt something twist in my chest. Not pity. Not forgiveness. Just the final snap of a connection that had already been fraying for years. I ejected the flash drive, snapped it in half, and tossed it into the trash. No reply. No closure talk. No midnight meetings at a coffee shop to talk things through. She wanted forgiveness? Let her earn it in a courtroom. A week later, she officially moved out. Left a few boxes behind. Old shoes, framed selfies, a blender she never used. I didn't even open them. Just left them on the porch. If she came back for them, fine. If not, I dropped them at Goodwill. And then, as I stood in the empty bedroom, our bedroom, I finally felt it. Peace. Real, undiluted, undeniable peace. It didn't come with revenge or gloating or a rebound fling. It came with silence. And that silence spoke louder than any scream she'd ever thrown at me. A few days after she left for good, I found myself standing in front of the mirror, just staring. Not at my hair or my face or the scar on my chin from when I fell off a bike at 12. I was staring at a man I hadn't seen in years. No more tight smile. No more pretending. No more trying to read her mind or walking on eggshells because I might say something too plain or too much. Just me. Raw. Still healing, but real. I shaved off the beard she always said made me look too rugged and cut my hair the way I liked it. No more chasing her aesthetic. No more being an accessory to her curated lifestyle. Then I started calling back friends I hadn't seen in forever. Guys I drifted from because she didn't like them. Said they were immature or jealous of our relationship. Turns out, they were the only ones who actually gave a damn about me. Jake and I grabbed drinks one night. He leaned back in his chair after hearing everything and said, "Bro, I knew something was off when she told you to stop hugging your own mom in public." I laughed for real for the first time in months. Then he said something that hit hard. "You're not the man she made you believe you were. You're better." It stuck with me. 2 weeks later, I started therapy. Just a weekly thing. Nothing dramatic. But I needed it. Not because I was broken, but because I'd been bent for so long, I forgot what straight felt like. The therapist, Dr. Monroe, was blunt, older, didn't sugarcoat. After I told him everything, he leaned back and said, "You didn't lose her. You escaped her." I kept going. One session at a time, I unpacked all the little things she chipped away. The sarcasm disguised as jokes. The guilt trips. The cold shoulders when I didn't say what she wanted. The way she'd twist my words until I was apologizing for things I didn't even do. And the worst part? I let it happen, bit by bit, until I couldn't recognize my own voice in a conversation anymore. But therapy helped. So did the gym, and the long walks at night, and cutting off every last tie to her life. Her friends, her routine, her version of who I was supposed to be. Then came the letter. Not an email, not a text. A real letter, dropped in my mailbox with shaky handwriting on the front. It was from her father. We'd never been close. The man barely spoke to me on our wedding day. I figured he saw me as just another one of Ashley's phases. But his letter said otherwise. "Tyler, I'm ashamed of what my daughter did to you. You gave her more than she deserved, and she chewed it up like it was never enough. I can't undo what happened, but I wanted you to know I respect you. And I'm sorry." That letter hit harder than all her apologies combined, because it came from someone who finally said the truth out loud. A few more weeks passed. Then one day I saw her at a farmer's market. Of all places. She was alone. No Blake. No designer sunglasses. Just Ashley. Plain. Dressed down. Hair in a messy bun. Holding a plastic bag of avocados like the world hadn't just burned down behind her. She saw me. Her eyes went wide. Then soft. She didn't smile. Didn't wave. Just stood there. I gave her a nod. A polite, distant nod. And kept walking. That was it. No words. No scene. No closure. Because I didn't need it. She had become a chapter one already read and survived. Now, months later, I'm writing this not out of bitterness, but clarity. Not to shame her, but to free myself. Because if there's one thing I've learned, it's this. Loyalty without respect is slavery. And love without honesty? Just a mask. If you're reading this and you feel that shift in your gut, that weight pressing down every time you pretend you're happy, don't wait for the betrayal to confirm what your soul already knows. Get out. Save yourself. And when you do, you'll finally remember what it means to breathe again. It's been almost a year now. The papers are signed. The house is mine. Her name is scrubbed off everything. Bank accounts, insurance, utilities. I even sold the dining table where she made that damn birthday toast. Replaced it with a smaller one. Simpler. Just enough for people who actually give a damn when they sit at it. I got a dog. His name's Milo. He's half German Shepherd, half mutt, and full chaos. But he waits by the door when I come home. Jumps on me like I'm the center of the universe. And somehow, after everything, that stupid dog made me feel whole again. You don't realize how long you've lived in a fog until you finally walk out of it. For years, I measured love by how much pain I could tolerate, how much of myself I could shrink just to keep her happy. But happiness wasn't even the goal for her. It was control. Ashley didn't want a husband. She wanted an accessory, something she could post when it was convenient, then box away when it didn't fit her aesthetic. And Blake? Turns out he didn't stick around either. Word got back to me, through mutuals I never even asked, that Blake ghosted her a few months after the divorce started. Apparently, it got too real. Of course it did. It always does when there's no money, no spotlight, no pretense to hide behind. He bailed the second she stopped being a fantasy. She tried reaching out again. Once. Sent a long email about growth and healing and how she hoped we could speak as friends. I didn't reply. I didn't even read it past the first sentence. You know why? Because I'm not angry anymore. I'm done. And that's scarier to someone like her than rage ever could be. She wanted me shattered, bitter, broken. Something she could point to and say, see? That's what happens when I leave. But instead, I got stronger. Better. I stopped doubting myself. Started living like I deserved peace, not just survival. The last time I really thought about her was when I passed that rooftop restaurant again, the one where it all came crashing down. I was with Milo. He was pulling at the leash, trying to get to a squirrel or a hot dog stand. I don't know. But I stopped for a second and looked up at the balcony. I pictured her in that gold dress, holding a wine glass, surrounded by people who laughed at her jokes but didn't know the first thing about who she was. And I smiled. Not out of spite. Out of relief. Because that night, she gave me the greatest gift she could have without knowing it. She exposed herself. To the world. To me. To everyone. And I finally walked away without looking back. I won't tell you it's easy. Some nights still feel heavy. Some memories still hit like a punch in the gut. You don't erase years in a blink. But now, when I lie in bed, I don't stare at the ceiling wondering if I'm enough. I know I am. If you're in a place like I was, invisible, dismissed, blamed for things you didn't break, listen to me. You deserve more. Not in the motivational poster kind of way. I mean real more. Someone who doesn't make you beg for basic respect. Someone who doesn't play power games and then cry when they lose. I was married to a storm that called herself sunshine. Now, I wake up to quiet, to freedom, to Milo's wet nose and the scent of fresh coffee and plans that don't require permission. And that's love. Not the kind you fight to earn. The kind you choose. Every damn day. The real ending didn't come in a courtroom. It didn't come when the locks changed or when she drove away for the last time. It came one morning, simple as anything. I was standing in the kitchen, pouring coffee into a chipped mug, the same one Ashley used to hate. Said it was ugly and didn't match the aesthetic. But that mug? It's mine. Solid. Real. No fake polish. No filter. Just like me now. The sun was cutting through the window, landing on the floor like gold, and Milo was snoring near the door, twitching in a dream. And in that moment, no noise, no drama, no performance. I felt something deep in my chest I hadn't felt in years. Peace. Not the kind you chase. The kind that finds you when you finally stop lying to yourself. Ashley was never the villain in a movie. She was just the wrong person with the wrong heart for the kind of love I gave. She couldn't recognize loyalty because she never had it in her. She couldn't hold on to truth because she never lived in it. And maybe I stayed too long. Maybe I should have walked away sooner. But I didn't. Because I loved her with everything I had. Even when she was tearing it down brick by brick behind my back. But I'm not bitter. Not anymore. She taught me exactly what I don't want. And in doing so, made space for what I do. I want honesty. I want someone who laughs with me, not at me. I want quiet mornings and deep conversations and love that doesn't feel like walking on broken glass barefoot. I want someone who sees me, not just the role I fill, not the money I make or the status I bring, but me. And I know she's out there. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but I'll find her. Because now, I know what I'm worth. And if you're reading this, if you've been called a loser, made to feel small, lied to, manipulated, used, hear me when I say this. You are not crazy. You are not weak. You are not the problem. You're just standing in the wrong storm, trying to fix someone who doesn't want to be fixed. So walk. Even if your legs shake. Even if your voice cracks. Walk. Because on the other side of betrayal is not just healing. It's you. The real you. the one who survived, the one who gets to start over. And trust me, there's nothing more powerful than a man who's been broken and didn't stay that way.